Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. I just want to test my system here, actually in the office today instead of my cave, if you're used to seeing any of my calls that I do. So hopefully you can hear me all right. If you can, sweet, perfect. So give me about one more minute. I'm just going to wait for whoever else comes in. Like I said, this is recording, so if you need to drop off. Typically in the format that I do with these group sessions is I'll go through the whole overview. I have some things I want to introduce on some of those changes that we made internally. And in addition to that, I open it up for QA. So during the time as I'm presenting, if you have questions, feel free to throw it in the chat. I'll get to everyone. And if you have any other questions about the platform, anything outside of white label, we can cover that as well. But I'll start here in just a minute.
Appreciate your help yesterday, John.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad I was able to help you on that. I know it's just so much going on right now. Hopefully, anybody who's actually on this call that is a current license holder that's learning about white label, you'll actually be pretty excited about the growth that we're about to have and what's going on here. So this all relates to the software and the support and helping out as well. So glad to put these together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. My name is John Aguilar. I'm the CEO and founder of Ligna. If you're on this call and you just stumbled across either an ad that we have out there, or just stumbled across Ligna and you reached out about our white label services, this call is going to be all about that. I didn't really invite anybody who was looking for a demo to the platform. We just have so many people coming in right now. We're working on streamlining how we communicate on a pre-sale standpoint. And I do these group sessions, they tend to be much more powerful than what they typically are. But as far as our white label services, is the first one I've done in some time. The reason behind that is last year we just had so much growth, tons of clients coming in. If you've listened to the history of Ligna and what we've done with the software last year, it's just natural when you come into our platform to want to learn about our white label services. So although we were extremely efficient, and I'll talk about the history of Ligna and how we became efficient, I bit off more than we could chew, to be honest with you. We took on so many accounts and it took us some time to adjust to that. So we stopped bringing on agencies for the second half of 2022. And it's taken us, this long to really get in a position where we want to go to the next level. So white label is back on. I'm going to go through those packages, what to expect, the changes that have happened over the last year, and just where we plan on taking this particular part of our business. On a software standpoint, the whole entire platform was built for marketing agencies initially. When I left the previous company that I sold off, building Ligna started with providing white label services to agencies that either I've known in the past, I've worked with in the past, and then we had a front-end site for white label, and so we started growing that pretty rapidly in 2021. And over that course of 2021, those agencies really shaped Ligna to really be our first public-facing software platform. And again, we went live with that in 2021, and then we've had so many different things happen to us as far as a platform and a good standpoint. On the growth on the software side. But as far as the services, one of the things that I know and everybody on this call knows, especially if you own a marketing agency, there's a level of accounts that you start diminishing the quality that you are providing for your client because of the scalability issues you have from hiring new employees, building more processes, sales dip. There's just that from 15 to 25 clients, there's always that scalability issue. And a lot of agencies figure it out and they scale on to hundreds of clients, but there's still a massive amount that are trying to get over that hump or have crossed that hump and just want to focus on sales and being more efficient. And that's really what our services is all about. It's really augmenting your current agency, supporting you with proven services that you're already doing today, but packaged in a more affordable way or a wholesale level way. And when you combine that with our technology and providing that full transparency from when your client comes in to all the tasks that we do for your client, we have something, really special to offer. And obviously last year, if you've been with us for some time, you can see how many people wanted that, right? So some of the things that we've changed before I get into like our products and services, before we were just taking on just a more robust solution that had additional feature functionalities that really didn't move the needle for the client. So we've kind of removed some of the things in our packages. In addition to that, the project management system evolved very rapidly last year to provide us more visibility into your clients, or at least what we're doing on a service standpoint. And in addition to that, leveraging proper communication channels through Slack, and I'll talk about those here shortly as we go through the process of this product. And those changes alone has drastically impacted just communicating with us, working with our teams, and now where we're in a position of growth and bringing in our team leaders, which I'll introduce here shortly, we're in a really good spot. So all the pains that, this product solves are always going to be there, but the transition of what we've done from just a client enablement standpoint and agency support standpoint puts us in the place we are today. So I appreciate it. I know some, have been hounding us to get on a call about this, and I appreciate your patience and sticking out and waiting for us to actually have this conversation because it was a little premature to bring on additional agencies beyond the ones we were supporting. So every time I do a demo on the white label services, I go over our packages and what to expect as far as what we sell. So I've been doing this a long time. And obviously, if you are providing services for your clients, it's not rocket science. You generate enough content, you set up Google profile, you set up local citations, you build a high quality website with enough content. There is no ifs and buts about it. This business owner is going to get more calls than they're getting today. It's just, it's proven over and over and over again. Doesn't mean you're going to rank on the first page of Google. Doesn't mean you're going to have all these more leads than you've ever imagined. But if you take a snapshot of your existing business, and no doubt if you do those things, you're going to have more phone calls, more walk-in traffic, more visibility. The frequency that we do these determines, how we're able to provide these packages, right? And so, yeah, I would say probably the biggest struggle for any agency, and even for us, is ensuring that you're delivering these types of services every single time, on time. The perception to your client of seeing these things is so important to keep them long-term. And one of the most important things to us is the website quality. So if you're not producing a high-quality website for that client immediately out of the gate, they're not going to stick with you. You're going to have to really tear it up on all the other stuff for them to have that long MRR strategy for you. However, if you blow them away on the website, they're going to give you 3 to 6 months regardless of what happens, right? So one of the things with us is we ensure that website that we're building, is something that, one, you're going to be proud of and the client's going to be proud of. And so each of our packages come with a website. It doesn't mean you have to leverage us to build this website. If you already have a website you built for your client and, it's on WordPress or another system, we'll augment what you currently have and work off of WordPress as far as like blog posting and things like that. We love building the site in our platform, obviously. One, it's highly scalable for us, but two, load times, control of optimization, just a lot of that bloated code that comes with these other CMSs. We're able to really control that as far as a ranking standpoint for us, but again, not mandatory. We build up to 10 pages. So let's say your client is a roofer. Most of these roofers will have 4 to 5 pages. We'll bring them in and expand their services, such as metal roofing, tile roofing, asphalt roofing, up to 10 pages. We write all the content. We optimize that content, for whatever local searches that are necessary within their marketplace. And then inside that site, we build out, a landing page, right? Most of the time it's the home page and maybe an internal page that we would use for paid advertising, whether they're in a package that we offer paid advertising or not. It's really kind of setting them up for either you have another agency that's doing pay-per-click, maybe you do it yourself, or you want to add that on with our packages later on. We develop all the content for the blogs. So in the brand builder, we're writing content twice a month and publishing that. We do the Google My Business optimization set up properly. If you're familiar with that, there's about 20 different changes you can make, and instantly they're going to get calls the next day. I mean, really, it's probably one of the most overlooked optimization strategies for Google Profile. And then we post on that twice a month. We set up local citations. So again, these are, obviously the little placeholders out there with your contact or your client's contact information, but we write unique snippets, right? And so it's an individual placeholder that we make sure their social links are in there, images are in there. So it's a real citation that will eventually get indexed. And we have other ways that we try to get those indexed, such as internal pages that link to that and things like that. So it is a strategy for us. We have about 1,200 local citations that will move the needle. And so, of course, we spread those out monthly and drip on those. Social posting. So we do 10 of those a month in the brand builder. Those are half client focused and half content focused. So we'll build, just a nice little graphic that represents their service and it's a branded post. The other half, we're just sharing content. So content relevant to their niche. If I'm a roofer, how to remodel your bathroom. The idea is that this person knows, how hard it is to remodel your bathroom. They hire you to remodel your bathroom. So content like that, just sharing that out on their social profiles. The email and SMS campaigns. So obviously, if you are a current license holder of Ligna, you have this capability back there. What we do with that is we actually just set the campaign up. We'll design the email, but we don't write any of the content for that. So the client will need and again, we will extend on the content for the offer, but the client really needs to put together what they want for their email campaign, whether it's a promotion they have going on. And in addition to that, of course, they need to provide the data, right? So, but we'll execute that campaign, make sure it's set up properly, make sure it's launched, and we'll do one of those a month for them. And again, back to the license side of it, SMS and email, you have limits on what you can do per client. Within this also applies to your overall inventory limit. So, some of our agencies are not allowing them to do the SMS campaign. Some of them will have a smaller package that they offer for them monthly. So just take that note. We'll talk about the license inside of our white label. There is limits that are inside the platform that if you go over and beyond, and I'll talk about that pricing of how that works. Reviews boost. So this is where we just build a cadence in our platform or workflow where you load up data, it automatically sends out a link to either Google, Yelp, Facebook, whatever review service that they want or local platform out there they want reviews on. And we'll launch and execute that every single month on their behalf. But again, that's dependent on the data that's provided to us for their customer data, right? Which will go through the actual agency. Facebook ad campaign. So I'll talk about that. That's not included in the brand builder. And I apologize, I'm telling you about those things and they're not even included in the brand builder. So the email SMS campaign, the reviews boost, Facebook ad campaign, and remarketing campaign is not in the brand builder. But what is the near me site? So the near me sites is extremely interesting because if you know anything about, I guess, the strategy of local SEO around service areas, a typical traditional SEO provider will build these individual service pages, right? So they're static for every single city. Content will be changed for that local market. Works great. However, you're missing the opportunity. And again, going back to the roofing standpoint, you have metal roofing, tile roofing, asphalt roofing, those different services that you offer. Obviously, there's tons of different specific searches that happen there on a local level and getting that proximity results on a local level and things like that. We actually deploy their entire website in each of these service areas. Just recently, Google has come out and even started affecting the service pages. And the reason why this is even more powerful today is because of the quality of your entire site being dedicated to that specific city. The indexing, the ranking, the visibility hasn't even missed a beat from a lot of these recent updates. So it just goes back to the mindset of I'm producing high quality content in this local area that I want to focus on the optimization standpoint. And we will deploy each of those and optimize them properly for each of those markets at your client services. So if they're here in Austin, if you're a contractor, you're going to travel up to 50 miles within, a 50-mile radius. Well, there's actually 52 cities within Austin that you would cover. And it's a pipe dream to think that you're going to cover all those areas with Google Profile, right? So this just gives you an augmented entity out there within those local markets to augment lead flow, right? So it works really well for us, and we apply that to any of your service-oriented or service area type of clients. So that's included. We launched 5 of those cities. Of course, you also get, the full-blown software suite with this. This is where, again, comes back to what you're going to limit them on the CRM and how you're going to package up Ligna, as a service offering. But most of your clients, who want the CRM, want more capabilities and things like that, I always suggest our agencies of creating a licensing for that and collecting on that, because obviously that's your revenue. It doesn't have anything to do with white label. So as you package up Ligna, whether you want to include it as part of this white label services or however you want to do that, that's completely up to you. Typically, your client's going to want the reporting dashboard. Typically, your clients obviously want to be able to respond to their leads and access their leads. And typically, they want access to the projects that are ongoing for them, right? So that's most of what they're going to do within the platform. One of the things that's not mentioned on here, when you sign up as an agency with us, we give you a dedicated resource pod. And so this pod it comes with, a project manager, it comes with an SEO specialist, a content marketer, and also a designer. And so those resources are dedicated to you. We onboard you into our Slack channels. So you have a client channel, you have a software channel for, you don't have to get on chat support anymore. You get all your support done with a dedicated software channel. So our developers are there to support you on the software side. You also get a client's channel. So that client channel is over and beyond what we do in the project. So when you actually activate a project within our platform for a client, all these tasks that we have scheduled for all these services that we're talking about. In addition, you have tickets that you'll be submitting for your clients, such as update this page or whatever it may be. All those things that happen outside of those specific tasks and projects, collaboration on specific things, all go in your client channel. So you're actually working with your pod. If you need to update on something or maybe have a question about something that's related to your client. So by opening it up to allow you to communicate with your resource pods, it's actually handled a lot of our communication issues over the past and allowed us to, put us in a position to scale more efficiently with that channel. You also get, the billing channel and sales channel. Sales channel, there's a lot of pre-sales questions that could come up, especially when you realize we do much more than just these package offerings. And I'll talk about the paid side of it on this one package here and how we can, actually do different paid side. You may have, much bigger ecosystem clients, such as, mortgage companies or financial services. So we have other solutions for that. But either way, if you have a simple question about, hey, this is my client, what package do you think will be best for them? Or you have a question about, where they're currently ranking, if this will affect them, there's a sales channel there as well to help with that pre-sale side of it. So that's all included. So even though it says project manager, you actually get a resource pod and dedicated team to really focus on not only the sales side of it, your client side of it, your billing side of it, and then also the software support side of it. So the only difference between the brand builder and the organic brand builder, like I said, the two things, the reviews boost and the email and SMS campaigns, but also the frequency. So we're blogging once a week on Google Profile. We're also blogging on their blog once a week, but everything else is the same, that 30 local citations opposed to 15. 10 service areas instead of 5, and same thing with project management and everything else. I do mention as well, like there's no contracts with this. There's no setups. So we're month to month. We got to prove every single month. And if you're in the massive wave last year, it's a good thing to have, right? From month to month. So we do have to prove, our worth every single month that we're providing these services. So there's no contracts. And we also have the Organic Brand Builder Plus, and this has the same frequency as the Organic Brand Builder. The only difference is the service areas. So we'll produce 25 service area websites. In addition, we'll set up your Google and Facebook ad campaigns and remarketing ad campaigns for both. Now, I definitely want to stress this. This is not a high-end, split testing, paid advertising campaign where we're meeting every single day. You got this ridiculously large budget that we're trying to well, you're very familiar. If you've done paid, you're very familiar with those types of campaigns. This is not, I can take any roofer, landscaper, plumber, chiropractor, lawyer, doesn't matter the industry. If it's a local business, I can take that and create an effective campaign that's going to produce phone calls and better visibility with the lowest cost per click possible, and set it up almost like maintenance mode immediately without doing all that. That's what that is. Doesn't mean you don't need that. Absolutely could and should need that as you expand your budget, expand your offerings, your funnels, and everything you're doing. This is more or less, think of it as organics used to take a lot longer, right? So with Google Profile and the expansion of it and some of the things that we do, again, more phone calls, more visibility happens very quickly compared to what it used to be. However, organics still take much longer, right? And so we treat paid as a way of generating leads right out of the gate. So these clients need to see something. They have $500 a month, $1,000 a month to spend on paid advertising. That's going direct to Google and Facebook, and however you charge or whatever you want to charge for that side of it, up to you. We do, our flat rate, and again, we set it up. We know the keywords to go after. We, do nothing but phrase match or broad phrase match plus or whatever. In addition to that, we optimize it really well, and we make sure, maintenance mode is negative keywords, and just making sure they don't blow out their budget and things like that. Beyond that, we do have paid services that we will give you a wholesale rate on, and you can go out and charge whatever you want for it. In addition to that, most of our agencies will charge anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for their organic brand builder. That sweet spot around $750 a month, depending on your marketplace, will be great, in my opinion. If you want to get aggressive and do it for $599 a month, completely up to you. The only thing I suggest on these packages is that you don't overprice yourself in the marketplace. Start charging $2,000 a month for the organic brand builder. Again, we do a lot of services within that $250 a month, but they're really only getting $250 a month worth of services. So you start charging $2,000 for that. They're going to expect unrealistic expectations as far as what we have. Doesn't mean you can't sell it. You're going to sell it. You provide augment your services, right? You're providing account management to your client. You're providing support to them. You may be providing additional consulting services in addition to that. If this is just an augmented product, take whatever you want to charge, right? But if you're just going to sell it as is, you start getting over that $1,000 mark for the organic brand builder. Again, you're not getting $1,000 worth of services for that. Organic brand builder plus, anywhere from $1,250 to $1,500. I've seen it sold. So it's completely up to you on how you do it. There's a lot of different sales strategies that we've looked at as far as how we help our agencies go out there and sell this. We have a startup program that, if you've looked at that, that's basically what we do is we set up your agency. We build you an agency website. We set up your social. We set up the back end for you. Outside of that, there was some sales training with that. That needs to evolve. So that's one of the changes that I want to talk about. If you've gone through our site today, we've stopped bringing on the startup simply because of the scalability of training the sales side of it. However, we're creating material for that. We're spending some time to create the course for that. Doesn't mean you can't sign up for the startup. You absolutely can sign up for the startup, but there's a line item in there that's not available at this time, which is a sales training. And I say this all the time: if you understand what a small business owner needs, it doesn't take much to realize how easy it is to sell this, right? So I don't want to steer you away from the startup. It's just right now we don't provide the sales training aspect of it. We'll set your entire agency up, build you a kick-ass website and all that stuff that you need. And we have resources really to kind of get you going on that side of it. But again, we're not providing that sales training side of it for this product. So, again, this is a problem that still exists every single day, even with all the new AI tools. Someone still has to post that stuff, right? Someone still has to be on top of it. Someone still has to make sure everything is being done properly. You still have to build a high quality website. I'm telling you, building a high quality website to your client is going to give you 6 to 8 months MRR every single time. And a lot of companies miss that, right? They don't spend enough time on the site design. So those things are not going to go away with a lot of this AI tools. It's only going to make it more efficient and everything else. But the problem of scaling your sales aspect of it and still providing that level of quality service that you have to provide as an agency owner, that's really where this product, really fills that gap. And I'm very passionate about that. That was the whole reason why we kind of paused our white label side, bringing on new agencies. because a lot of those pieces that I just said were diminishing from our own efforts, right? And so this is a great segue to kind of walk into, the changes that, or the growth that we're having within Ligna. I brought on, so I mentioned resource pods. So we have these resource pods that, again, are doing every little bit that we need to do, the local optimization, the local citations, the blog posting, and all of that. We have project managers making sure they're getting it done. We lacked, as Ligna, the leadership levels, right? So me, my brother, if you've been on our call or know our history and worked with David, worked with myself, it's a lot to handle, right? And especially with our technology you have going on, we've lacked the leadership side of it. And so it's very difficult for me to decide on who that leadership position is going to fill because of just everything that's been going on with the company itself. But as far as resources, we have an infinite amount of resources to support agencies. Where we lack is the pre-sales. I mean, you're on this call right here, you probably reached out to Ligna multiple times to get on a demo or try to get on these white label services. So our pre-sales have sucked. Our account management, because of just the fact that we really do bend over backwards for our agencies, is a personal relationship. It's very important to us. We lack that. But as far as getting your project into the hopper and getting it put through our machine of resources that are really, really good and trained on our platform, we can scale to infinite levels with that. It's the leadership side of it, of building out our account management and our pre-sales. So what I've done is I have Mark Farley, which I'll introduce him, or he'll introduce himself in just a second. Mark has worked with me, 10 years, right? We have another product that we work together. It's a product that is focused on high-end, and not high-end necessarily high-end, but agent-based organizations, extremely large ecosystems that sell through dealer channels. So we have a product that we work closely on that. He's used to handling massive networks of local dealers, franchises, agent-based organizations. So he's dealing with hundreds and hundreds of different clients at one time through the manufacturer, right? And building processes to support all those. And he's just a perfect fit to come in and really take control of our account management, our pre-sales, build out that team. So that's Mark Farley. And if you have anything to say, I really didn't want them to have to say too much.
No, just happy to join the Ligna team.
You can actually mute.
Just happy to join the Ligna team here. Just coming from a background of both marketing and operations, and seeing the gaps that Ligna had, and I know John had just talked about some of the headaches and things that we got to get over, and we're putting together the teams right now to build out that support layer, both from pre-sales and even just for current clients like yourselves, just to get that communication all buttoned up so you guys are taken care of. And also to just add in a whole layer of process efficiency and consistency, right? The consistency we believe we've already got, but now it's trying to start to make things really efficient for you guys as we scale this thing out. So just be prepared to just start to experience a whole different layer of support for you guys, and just that whole, there's going to be a lot of different processes that we're going to start putting in place that are going to make it both easier for you and for us. But as John said, we're taking our finger off that pause button for these white label services and really revving it up. So happy to be on the team, John.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly, again, we don't have a problem with our team, our resources, and delivering the product. We have a problem with this communication, right? I've been leading a lot of this stuff. So if I'm leading all the project managers and I'm trying to focus on that, it takes me away from the software. If I'm leading the account management side and trying to focus on that, I can't do it. So Mark's is really, he's awesome on the account management side. You'll see pretty quickly on that. So next part I talked about is project management. It's not our project managers that have been our problem. It's the ones who are trying to look at all of our project managers and make them efficient, right? And so Eddie Garcia, he's worked with me in a previous company I've owned and sold off. He basically has handled all of our projects and all of our resources in two of my agencies that I sold off. So luckily enough, I was able to get him on our team, and actually today is his first day, which is huge for us. So Eddie Garcia, he's basically going to handle that entire leadership level of all of our project managers, right? It's again, too much for me to handle, and my brother. And so now making these moves with our leadership team, it's really going to help us out. So you'll see a lot of him on a deliverable standpoint. Again, the client facing is all going to be Mark and his group and his team. Eddie's just going to make sure shit gets done across all the project managers and all the pods that we have. And of course, all the other things that you do within the client standpoint. But yeah, wanted to put a name to the face, and you got anything to say, it's up to you.
Just nice to meet everybody. Really excited to join the team and help create clear, positive paths forward for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Success is the name of the game, and
Right.
I'm all about it.
Right. So yeah, so again, if this is the first time you've seen Ligna, I apologize. We kind of told you the bad stuff about us. That's really not bad. It's actually really good. And the ones that stuck it out with us, it put us in a position to really, set this up to really focus on the white label beyond what we do on the software. The white label I'm very passionate about, and I'm telling you, there's not an agency that I've ever spoke to that says they do this perfect. I didn't do it perfect. No one does it perfect. Augmenting this with your team and providing consistent quality deliverables each and every time, every single time, you're going to have that MRR for your client, because I don't care how many AI tools, I don't care what is out there, your client is never going to do this stuff. They're never going to do it. It doesn't matter, right? And I know we have a lot of competition on the white label side of it. I've went back and forth on the different pricing models, and we just came back, and this is the price that we started with. This is what we want. I know you've seen some adjustments on our pricing, but this is the perfect price model where you have enough wholesale, or there's enough I would say there's the wholesale pricing is in a good spot to where there's enough that you can get out of your client to make the profit margins for the account management side, the sales side, any augmented services that you're doing to make sense. And yeah, so that's it. I mean, there's nothing really rocket science about our program. These services that we offer, you're doing today. If you're not doing them, you should be doing them, because the combination of all these things every time gets results. I mean, it's going to get more phone calls. It's going to get them more leads. It's going to get them more visibility. Is it going to put them on the first page of Google? That's not how I sell this. I never sold it that way. How you sell it is up to you, but these services and the combination, the frequency work every single time for your local business owner. It's just about delivering them on time and consistently for your clients. So that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions that you have. Feel free to start putting them into the chat there. Oh, you know what? How about I just talk about the onboarding process? So that has changed a little bit if you've used this in the past, or if you're interested on what it looks like for an onboarding. So every agency, we have a personal onboarding process for them. This is where we're going to have a call with you, likely be with Mark. We'll go through, your ideal customer that you want to target. If a lot come in and say they want 5, 6 different clients onboarded, we start with one to get your billing profile set up. We create 3 project tasks or projects in your back end in Ligna software. So you get a brand builder project, organic brand builder project, and the OBB plus project, right? We assign your pods to those projects. In addition to that, we set up your Slack channels and invite you to those channels. And when you're ready to move to your second client, you just basically cloning that project. We have a list of questions that we need to collect from you, from your client. That's all part of the project. So when that project's activated, that actually triggers and activates our pods to start working on your project. And that gives you visibility into that project as well, right? So you can extend that to your client, so your client can see what we're doing. Again, none of our brand exists. These are your employees, right, as you talk to your clients. And so everything that we do for your clients is done directly inside that project. And then, of course, you have the Slack channels for anything over and beyond that. And so that first scheduling, I'll be sending out an email after this call with times available to meet with Mark to go through and get your onboarding process set up. Once you're onboarded, if you have any questions about sales or anything like that before the next one, you have that channel, you have access to Mark. Of course, you have the client channel for existing customers, and it's just basically your cloning projects in your back end, signing them to a client, and then at that point, that triggers the entire team. The way we do invoicing, every time you activate a project, for that client, we charge that day for you, right? So once you have your billing profile set up, we don't show, in the way we charge by inventory or number of organic brand builders you have or brand builders you have. So it is up to you to kind of track think of them as you're buying licenses, right? And you're going to use those for whatever clients you have. We don't do prorating. So it's the day you decide to go live with a client, that's your renewal day every single month. But again, there's no no contracts. So you can cancel those if, inside the billing profile or billing Slack channel at any moment. But again, it's that day that you sign up. So I always recommend make sure you get paid for your client, before you activate a project. That way the money transfers there. I know, again, just what I would do is make sure you're paid first before you pay us. So yeah, it's a lot different than it was before as far as how we did the onboarding process. For sure, I would assume Mark's going to come in and say, John, this is a good attempt, but we're going to do this much better than what we have. But it's a lot better on the account side of it, the account management and the onboarding of your client. But again, like I said, to get going, there's not a sign up process online, mainly because we want to go through that personal relationship still. It's very important to me that, we know you. It's not a transactional type of thing online. We're really here trying to grow your agency, improve our work so we can grow with you. And so the next step after this, if you are interested in going to the next level, I'm going to send out to everyone the link to schedule an onboarding call with Mark. That will go through the process of getting you on our Slack channels, getting your project set up. And of course, if you haven't bought the software yet, we have an LTD going today, right? I'm not sure when I'm going to shut that thing off. It seems like every day someone's wishing we would turn it back on. So that's there. But again, the white label services, if you don't have a license, you have to purchase a license, whether it be an LTD or, when those go away, our monthly subscription to have access to our white label services. And the most you'll pay out of pocket for the software for all of your services or all your clients, again, we have that unlimited license for $297 a month or the $1,000 LTD. So yeah, I'm going to open up for questions. I know I throw up a lot, spend a lot of time continuing to talk about other things. So I'm going to jump over to your questions over here. So we already have white label participants. How do we get access to our pod? So Jay, transitioning is starting now for all of existing agencies who have not been put into the access to the pod. I'm not familiar with what you got going on today, just because I'm not in the weeds of every account that's over there right now today. But if you haven't got access to your pod, send me a note and I'll make sure you're right in line with Mark to go through the new process of getting you on your pod and getting everything set up if you're already an existing agency that we haven't set up on that yet.
Yeah, you don't have to send a note. I got it down. So we'll get that set up for you, Jay.
Perfect. So yes, thanks, Lisa. It is fun being in this position. Is there also an advancement in Ligna software support? Yes, there is. You get your own dedicated software Slack channel. So that's access to our bug team. And of course, everyone on the team sees that. So if you have an issue, support's a whole nother ballgame that I'm going to talk about the advancements for that and the leadership group we have for that. And that's a whole nother separate thing. As a matter of fact, if you've ever worked with my brother David, he's actually moving into handle support, build that team out. There's various people that software support side of it. So that whole nother call, I'm going to talk about the growth there and our cool new office and everything that's going on. It's actually pretty exciting. So I'll have another call about that as far as Ligna support. But if you're in a white label agency, you have a dedicated Slack channel for software support. You never have to jump on the chat icon anymore. You have direct access to your pod that may be able to answer your questions about the tech. In addition, I'm there as well, and so is our dev team. For white label Facebook, Google ad campaigns specifically, who onboards the client and sets the keywords and ad spend questions. Also, when the client wants to discuss the performance, is my project manager available to join the call? Last questions are the project manager US based. Thank you. You're welcome. And project managers are US based for us. Everyone knows I own an agency in Mexico that, well, not everyone knows, but the ones I have a lot of resources and access to resources. So that whether that be a contractor, a freelancer, a Mexico resource, a US resource, so your pods are, a mixture of all that. But as far as our project management side of it, Eddie is going to handle every bit of that as far as our project team and who's talking with clients. But everybody, here on this team is US based, right? So whoever's actually working on your account varies depending on whether they're a freelancer, a contractor, a Canvas program, or a Mexico resource out there. So to answer your question as far as who onboards a client for the keywords, this is actually a great question because we don't ever talk to your client. Obviously, the reason behind that is clearly they don't want us to know it's you. Now, sometimes we do get on a call with your client as your resource. We take that case by case basis. In the past, when we had 300 agencies we were supporting back before we released the software and ended up going international, all the other stuff that we had, we would jump on calls and actually support your clients on specific questions that are proprietary. We don't do that anymore. It's really 100% up to you to manage your client's expectations and performance from that. However, we will jump on the call with you and echo that stuff that you can relate to your client. And again, we take that case by case basis. There may be something that you have with us that needs our expertise to satisfy your client. But for the organic brand builder and the organic brand builder plus and the brand builder, I don't see a case of that needing to happen, especially if you set the expectations of what this ad campaign is. This ad campaign is not, your high end, let's have a call every Monday about the performance of what's going on with this ad campaign. I do not want to set the expectation to that. Think of it as, I have a budget that I'm going to get the best bang for my budget to generate leads now. And if I want something more personal and bigger, we can do that. And we'll scope that out. In those cases, yes, we'll jump on a call because you're paying for that, right? You're paying for that actual experience with your client as your client. But other than that, you're the client. You're handling all the communication with your client on that side. Unrelated but related, can you please speak on the delivery of account limits and Ligna accounts? So yes, I know we were going to have conversations about the feature functionalities that we lack and need to make a lot of the software licensing and limits a reality. That is in QA. I need to release that because it's super important here, especially when I talked about, when you sell this to a client, you have really, again, two separate products you're selling. You can sell them the services side, but I would but I would absolutely have something baked in there for software. That way, if they cancel the services, you're making money on the software. And that doesn't have anything to do with us, right? The only issue with that is, to the point here, is that you need account limits to be able to control their usage. That's coming sooner than I can even speak because it's in QA and I need to get it out. How do we get on the mailing list? If you've come through here in our platform and I've invited you to this call, my email is john@Ligna, it's JON@ligna.io. Send me an email. I'll make sure you're on the invite for scheduling your onboarding with Mark. The LTD, like I said, I'm just a softie. I'll tell you what, that thing needs to be taken down as quickly as possible, but it's still up. It's just ligna.io/lifetime-deals/ deal. I'm sorry, no S. So I can just type it in here real quick. So lifetime deal. So it's ligna.io/lifetime deal. Again, you do have to purchase a license to leverage our white label services. Obviously, the LTD is the best way to go. By the way, on the LTD, right now you can upgrade as you need. It's not something that you have to buy the top package just to get into it. But that thing needs to come down at some point. So I would definitely take advantage of that as quickly as possible. Said, are you still fielding feature reach suggestions? Where should we do that? Love the platform. I want to eliminate as much of my stack as possible. Absolutely. Everything that goes into our Facebook community, if you haven't joined it, matter of fact, 99% of the stuff we build comes from there. Our roadmap, got a little behind on that. I need to update that. There's a lot of great stuff inside the platform. Click on the roadmap icon. Notice a lot of that's being adjusted and some of it's already been launched. So there's a lot of different things that we need to address on the roadmap standpoint, but everything in there has been user generated, customer generated, community generated. So definitely suggestions inside of our Facebook group is great. For the reviews, you have to schedule that cadence manually, or is there a drip feature? So it's a drip feature. So we set up a workflow or a cadence. You can do it both ways. And the second part of it is coming where, once they write the review, hey, look, let's get them out of the second drip, right? So typically we'll set up as many drips as they want. We do one email, one text message to Facebook, Yelp, Google, or whatever, with the links that are provided. So we use the cadence feature for that, and that's drip. So as soon as we upload the leads or the customer list, that triggers that. But it's not like, what's that software? Not Bird Dog, that's the shorts I buy. I forget the name of it. But as soon as they write the review, it removes them from the cadence. We're actually building that right now with Yelp's integration and getting that done. Right now, it's just, hey, we're going to get them to drive them to write reviews on the links. We do that with their customer base each time. Is there only access to the pods team via Slack? What if the client or agency wants a team Zoom meeting also on the pods team? Are there domestic-based or offshore resources? So depending on your pod, like I mentioned, you may have a mixture of freelancers, Canvas contractors, or my team in Mexico, or a US-based resource. Just depends on who we assign to your team. But they're all very well-written and well-spoken. And again, they're there to assist on questions that your account manager, your project manager is not always available. And so by posting in that channel, there's more people that see visibility into what you need, and we can respond to that. We don't necessarily set it up to where you're having meetings with your pod. You just have access to them to get information and things like that. So you don't need to set meetings with your team and set up sort of processes with those teams. We do all that. So we have all that in place. We let you, not let you, but we encourage you to be involved with your pod as much as possible, so they get to know you, of course, but also, there's so many things outside of a task in collaborating standpoint that, to go into the system, apply a task to adjust the logo, or just you have some comments about it. Yeah, it's great in the project management system, you can do that. But that immediate collaboration with your pod for those things is perfect. All that is done by Slack, unfortunately. And, we invite you to those channels and do that within Slack. Doesn't mean you have to use it. It's there for you. You can still communicate with your account manager through email and phone calls and whatever you want to do. We just encourage it because we've seen over the last 8 months, 10 months, how impactful it has been with those channels, with the agencies that are leveraging them. So I'm so new, I'm not sure what questions to ask. I 100% understand that. I would like to set up a call with someone on just an overview. Rick, no problem. Like I said, I'm going to have an invitation out for the onboarding side. Feel free to use that as a chance to have questions that you didn't think of here to work with Mark. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to onboard a client to get on our schedule to have that conversation. Next question, how do I upgrade the LTD from the basic to the unlimited online? So right now, because of the subscription module and the new user module, which is unbelievably awesome with the limiting side of it, this will blow our community away when this goes live. That part will be an upgradable process with our affiliate program and everything else within that module. That's not ready yet. So right now, if you do want to upgrade an LTD you're currently on, just send us a request on support, and we'll send you an invoice for the difference between what you've already bought to the next one, and then we upgrade you on the back end for now. Ray, I previously had white label services stop when the pivot pause occurred. Is there anything I need to do, or just wait until I'm contacted? So you're going to get an email for this. I vaguely remember the clients that you had actually ended up liking one of the sites that they did for that. Ray is a real trooper. He went through, I think he signed up during the midst of the most chaotic period of my entire life. So he can definitely speak of the negative of this program for sure. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to absolutely love the new flow and everything we got going on. So I'm excited to get you back in. So Mark will definitely be reaching out to you on that for sure, 100%. Can I have more than one opportunity? I assume you're saying you want to have more than one opportunity to speak with us. Yeah, I mean, again, we are working on our pre-sales opportunity or pre-sales process as we speak. We are hiring salespeople. We have so many people that are interested in our platform, and we do a piss poor job of even reaching out to everybody. Hence why we're having a group meeting now for something that you could simply be on a call with somebody. So yeah, if you have more questions and everything else, that's all part of our process of how we're going to handle all the pre-sales questions. And again, Mark has a significant amount of history doing this and building that stuff out. So absolutely. So would the organic brand builder plus be beneficial with all of its features? For a vacation rental, I have mostly bringing leads for reservations. Yeah, so vacation rentals are interesting, especially since I just went on my anniversary at the end of January, and I was saying the same thing. You know, this place that we go to every single year, we were tired of it and we wanted to try a new place. So I started searching. You'd be surprised at how many of these rental properties lack the SEO or just the content. And the ones that drive you are going to be the write-ups and the posts and the images that have for those posts. So I started thinking, you know, this is actually a really good service for all these vacation rentals because, you know, you're putting them on Verbo and all these other sites. When in theory, if you just grabbed your own domain and built a little website for it and built some content, you know, when someone searched, you know, Fredericksburg, you know, vacation rentals, I could be outranking all the ones that have everyone else out there, right? So especially when you start asking for hot tubs and things like that. So yes, I think absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's funny you even bring that up because I was literally just talking about how you could expand a lead gen network for reservation systems out there and do it a little bit different, or just for leads for vacation rentals. In the program pipeline, more than one pipeline. So, oh, you're talking about the software specifically. I see what you're saying. So in the software, yes, and not to pivot to that too much, but you would set up a workspace and then create your custom pipelines for each workspace. We don't have a feature yet to where you can actually create a pipeline for just a lead label or a data form. That is in the works coming, but right now it's just workspace based that you can create as many pipeline stages as you want.
Go right above that to Jay Nelson's. What if after we get through the onboarding discovery actually needed a different LTD arrangement? Just above the pipeline.
Hold on, miss. I'm not seeing what you're saying.
Right.
What does it say? Oh, what if after we get through the onboarding, we discover we actually need, oh, gotcha. It just popped up for me. So what if after we go through the onboarding, we discover we actually need a different LTD arrangement and the LTD has ended and we defaulted to monthly, or will some LTD accommodations be made? Yeah, so our LTD program, you can upgrade at any point. There's whether it's gone or not, doesn't matter. You know, the way I've set it up is, you know, 6 months from now, you start getting over 15, 20 clients and you need more room, you can upgrade to the next level of LTD at any moment. You just pay the difference, whether it's, you know, ended or not. So you do have that luxury. So, you know, at this point, I always suggest just getting the LTD that fits your current business need that you currently have. It's weird how that didn't pop up for me. There's another one below that, or is that the last one for you?
This last one for me.
Last one.
It might show up late too.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Evan. So the LTD is only for the software. So to use our white label services, your users are counted as users in your platform. So you have to include a license that fits the amount of white label services that you have or white label clients you have. So that white label service standpoint, you know, if you have, you know, more than 15 or 20 clients, you know, obviously you're going to want the unlimited plan. Right now, the LTD, you know, is unlimited beyond that for a one-time setup. You know, obviously the monthly after that expires would be the next one. So you do have to, you know, include a Ligna license to do the white label. And again, it's the software platform within it. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to do our white label services. Again, you can do a combination of these. Oh, one other thing that others have asked previously, you know, what happens when your client cancels? What happens to their website? We don't collect on hosting or any of that stuff. That's up to you. So I always say, again, when they downgrade to a hosting package or tech package, that's all you, right? So once the site's built, they do some marketing, maybe they just, you know, they scale back or whatever. You can drop them down to a hosting plan and charge whatever you want for that. They just count towards a user in your platform within it. Do you have pricing for internal email sends or SMS sends? Yeah, so it's $3 a month. So this is important too. Again, the limits are going to really allow you to take advantage of this, but VoIP lines, any phone line is $3 a month with unlimited minutes. Any text message over your inventory is 1 cent a send. One thing to know, when these limits come out, it's these SMS, text blocks that you're sending out. The limit on characters is the number sent. So a lot of these SMS messages have been going out, right? Actually like 5 to 10 text messages at once. That's important to know when you start opening this up for your clients and things like that. But it's 1 cent a send based on 140 characters. So it's 1 cent a send. And then the voicemail drops are 2.5 cents a send. And then email is 0.001 cent a send. And then you can buy blocks of volume, which will bring that down based on we actually have really good wholesale rates with Plivo to really share that in our customers. So again, not a huge profit center at all for us, but definitely set up in a way to where if you want to, offer a subset to white label as a software subscription, highly recommend that. Obviously, it's going to take the limits out of it to be really effective. Can you clarify on the support question asked earlier? If we're a white label user, do we get a higher level of support via the Slack support channel? Changing them from white label related questions that we may have. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, Ray, is that you get a dedicated support channel for software. You also have a dedicated clients channel, which means that's your support for anything you have related to your clients. You get a dedicated sales support channel. So if you have any pre-sales questions that you need to ask, it's much more than just Mark on there that can ask and respond to you. And then we also have the billing channel. So those 4 channels is more support than anybody's ever had with this company, beyond that. So yes, in our white label program, you get those dedicated Slack channels. You never have to use the chat channel anymore, the intercom chat. You throw in something there, everyone can see it and respond to it if someone's taken up who's supposed to be responding to. So do your web developers know how to offer WCAG 2.1 compliant websites? Yeah, so whatever compliance or whatever accessibility or whatever you need for your clients, there's no issue with that. We're capable of developing anything you want. Where that falls into the free website that we give you within our marketing program will determine a wholesale rate on that particular site. So depending on what functionality, what type of compliance you need, what type of encryption you may need for sending web forms for doctors' offices and things like that, there are additional charges that come with that, but 100% scoped out. Explain to you how long it's going to take, hand it over to you with a wholesale rate that you most certainly should be charging, obviously your client for that. So just depending on the scope of how much you want that to be in compliant and any additional information that you need for your particular sites may fall outside of what we give away as a free website within those packages. So I might have missed this earlier, no problem, but do you offer to do more than 10 pages for the white label website? Yeah, absolutely. So it's $15 a page after that. That comes with the design, the image optimization, the stock photo, the SEO optimization, the content written for it. So that's $15 additional page wholesale rate for that. So again, I would charge $25, $30 a page if I were you, an additional client. One thing to mention on that, we provide in your pod that designer, right? The designer stays in your pod for updates. So your client may have something they need to change. They may need to add a page or two. That's another thing where we take case by case basis, where when your initial site is 10 pages and like 6 months later, your client wants to add a page. Sometimes we don't, nickel and dime those scenarios where we're like, hey, it's $15 to add this page. In most cases, we don't, but there's been times that someone came in and said, hey, I want to create a series of pages based on this new product or service that we have, or a significant size page that has a lot of content that needs to be written. We'll charge you wholesale on the one time, but the maintenance is included, right? So you need something changed or need something updated. Obviously, if you're working with the new CMS, it's a lot easier for you to go in there and do it, and it's a lot easier for your client to make these small changes. But that's what your pod's there for. And like I said, that client chat or client Slack channel, outside of like normal tasks or tickets, you can get those done pretty quick within our pod. Does the pod team create the content? If so, how they understand our business in a specific domain and industry that's not common? So the game has seriously changed in that department. So you have touched on a subject where we have failed for more technical or more outside of traditional local business and needs, industry, an expert to produce that content. Obviously, if you're familiar with all the stuff and the transitions of the content creation process and what's going on, we're actually producing very specific content, obviously, that doesn't take the expert to write it. And again, still takes somebody to be able to do the right prompts, get the right content, optimize it, rewrite it, make it unique, do different things there. So there's that level of it that we're able to produce that content for you. By no means do you have to use the content that we create. That would come up to your customer. But as far as the industry and how to market, what keywords and what terms and the process of replicating content that others have used or ideas, we're really, really good at that. And your pod's really, really good at that. If you have topics you want us to create content for that specific business, not saying there's not outliers that we don't have someone who understands that business as far as how to market it, but we will leverage you, to really help us on that standpoint. Your pod will figure it out. We have all different ways of creating content that way. And again, like I said, if it's over and beyond what we do, we just give you a wholesale rate scope. But that's what your sales channel is for too, to kind of walk through, hey, this is a particular client. It's interesting, maybe like a colon hydrotherapist that has a very unique proprietary machine, things like that. Of course, we're not going to be able to generate content that is unique to that individual who created the actual product. So we will need help with the client to uncover that, to get us to the right or the right level for that content.
I actually got a direct message from Rick. Rick, you mentioned if Mark's on it. So the guy in Ligna sales window here, I'm Mark. So yeah, actually, John and I will be conducting most of the onboarding here in the near future. Then he's just going to hand that off completely to me. But yeah, John and I will be connecting with anybody who wants that onboarding call and getting you set up.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to send out a link. They'll have times that you can just schedule directly off of that. So if we have an LTD and need a website developed, you guys build out the website as an individual project, one-time fee. If so, that price is cost per page as well. That's actually a whole nother product. It's called the Done For You setup. So that, I don't want to definitely want to say this. I don't recommend buying the organic brand builder, or the organic brand builder plus for your agency out of the gate. I just don't recommend it. One, if you're not in a good place with your website for your agency, getting on the one-time Done For You setup, you get a website with that so you can save some money. Jumping into that monthly marketing side of it, I have a whole different concept of how I'll market an agency, right? So you have your national site, and then you have your local individual sites, and then you have your sales agents' websites. If you're doing that kind of sales process of getting people out there to set appointments, there's a whole little flow of setup to where I think you're at somewhat of a disadvantage kind of setting you up only on a local side, plus you can save money getting yourself set up with that. So if it is for your own agency, I highly recommend either the Done For You setup or going through our startup program that we have on that side of it. But if you have an LTD and you just need a website developed, you need set up, that Done For You setup includes that. Are the e-commerce sites an additional initial cost? So if you want us to build out like a Shopify site or a Magento site, definitely. So we'll give you a wholesale rate on that and provide that. And again, we always build on our system, but there has been times that people want us to build on WordPress. We'll do that. It's just $500 setup. So the free site has to be built on our platform within our site. If you want us to build on WordPress, you want to build take a Shopify site and theme it for you. You want us to do a Magento site. It's $500 for that. Depending on how many products you have for e-commerce, we'll give you a scope wholesale for that within it. But yeah, the free site is 100% built inside our platform. So on the sales call last year, I was told white label servers aren't really for major e-commerce sites, which made sense. Just curious, has this changed? Can we just integrate a retail software like Lightspeed into the pages and manage the inventory products to them? 100%. I mean, we do that with these e-commerce sites. We'll build around it, and you have shop dot whatever all the product pages are, and we'll drive it there, shop folder, and do a reverse proxy to the shopping cart that you want to have set up and manage all the inventory there. Definitely do that. E-commerce, what's interesting about that is on the local level, we do a lot of stuff on our other side of the business when it comes to like security camera products and things like that, and deploying them in these local markets. So there's a lot of things that we can actually do as far as SEO and content marketing and building backlinks and things like that. This local product, again, like I said, optimizing Google profile, business profile, getting these local citations unique and set up properly, consistently posting with, optimized content. That doesn't work for e-commerce sites. That works for that local business owner. E-commerce sites, you got to build backlinks are the most important thing you possibly imagine as far as ranking on those local markets. In those markets. So we have a much more aggressive program. So don't feel like, hey, I got an e-commerce plan, let's put it in these local. I would not do that. Get with us. We'll offer a wholesale on, more of a traditional backlink campaign for product based. There's some unique stuff we do around deploying on hyperlocal sites that work with different product industries. And so we'll give you a wholesale rate for that and work on that. But as far as like setting up a e-commerce site and us working like a local market, like for instance, CBD shop, they sell online, but they also have foot traffic. Those are great, right? Because we just we build them a local showcase for their actual local site and their shop. But then they have the tab for e-commerce that's, actually driving the e-commerce piece. So anybody local who also does e-commerce, this will work great for them. Awesome. Love to hear about that project. So if you have any other questions, feel free to throw in. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the white label program. But yeah, I appreciate everyone's time. So we'll just hang out here just for a few more minutes and see if anybody has any more questions for a few more seconds. Are you shaking your head on that question?
I don't know what that is.
I have no idea what that is either. I will have to do some route. I know a lot of things, but sometimes when I actually do not know, I can't even fake that one. Oh, .NET CMS is so. Oddly enough, I was a .NET developer and I actually want to throw up just thinking about .NET, to be honest with you. So I do. Unfortunately, I have a lot of experience with .NET, but our team does not. Do not hire .NET developers or anybody on that side of it. So if you have a client that's on a .NET CMS, hopefully there's a lot of documentation on it. And again, like I said, we'll work on another CMS. We'll just determine that CMS and figure out what your wholesale would be for us to build on. Is the technology pod resource available active today? Yeah, so all of this stuff is the technology, the pods, the resource. We've had all these pods in existence. Matter of fact, we actually do sell pods, by the way. We sell pods for $7,500 a month. It gets you a project manager, I get you a designer, that gets you a developer, a SEO expert. So you get the whole pod. You could actually buy one yourself. I recommend it when you get to hundreds of accounts, you actually save a significant amount of money for them. And I can go over that later on as far as how many packages they can handle. But yeah, these pods have been in existence since we've been doing this. What hasn't been active is our leadership team to really focus on training our project managers to be more efficient with communication, setting up these channels and everything else to really, streamline the communication from us to you, which, we've struggled, quite frankly, to support that communication layer through our growth. So all that's live today. This is, I was hoping to go live with this before the end of the year, but it's taken us some time to kind of put everything together and make the key partnerships that we needed to make this happen. So will the support improve for the AppSumo LTD customers? I have some issues that have not been addressed. Yeah, so that's a whole other side of it, the support technology side of everything. So yes, we're 100% improving that. There's a whole other layer that's being built out right now with another team leader that's not on this call. That's all software related. And if you like I said, if you go under the white label program, your support goes into this channel. That also includes your software. So yes, absolutely going to have much better and more robust support avenues for everybody. So you touched on the done for you versus just getting on the white label. Can you give some more detail? I wanted to try the white label on myself before moving one client over. So depending on your level of expectations on a marketing agency in a local market, this is not that scenario where you're going to get phone calls all right out of the gate, get visibility out of the gate. I can take a roofer or remodeler who has a stagnant website and a domain that's been around for a long time, flip them into a high-end website, write some good content, update their social media, update their Google profile, and they will get calls really quickly. Marketing agencies don't work that way. Google is actually very selective on what agency triggers a proximity search on how people search. Local internet marketing, different terminology and things like that generate local searches, but a lot of them don't. That will bring up the map listing and things like that. If you're just like, hey, I want my agency to kind of look like I'm actually doing something online, I got blog content going, I have social going, I got a new site for me, definitely the organic brand builder, those programs work good, right? Because it's a perception that I'm actually doing something. But if your whole intention is to come in and say, no, I need business and I need leads and I got to generate revenue for my agency, way better ways of doing it, in my opinion, right? Than the organic brand builder and the local product. Between Facebook ad campaigns and targeting local business owners properly and giving them the right offer with the right site, there's a lot of opportunity of getting a lead for $2 a lead on Facebook, or setting up an ad campaign and doing it that way, and play a long-term organic strategy on a national level, and then break out locally more strategic down the way. So I don't recommend going into the mindset for our white label services for your own agency with that expectation that all of a sudden I'm going to get phone calls and leads. However, perception is very important. I know we do a piss poor job of perception of content that's being produced on the internet, but that perception is really powerful when your clients come to you and they're like, well, you can't even write your own blog posts. How are you going to do blog posts for us, right? So that perception, if you're going into the white label program for that, just to get the feel of, hey, I'm getting delivered X amount of things each month or services each month, the quality level, a new site, all that stuff. And yes, it's definitely a program that I would sign up for yourself to try it out. But the done for you setup is a much better way of saving money for your own agency. Because if you're comfortable doing your own posting and kind of getting everything, if you have the time to do that kind of stuff to kind of get that perception going, you save a lot more money than the monthly. And to me, there's a lot better ways to generate leads for your agency than focusing just on local optimization for it. So I hope that made sense. I'm not steering you away from it. I'm just saying, don't go in expecting to get the kind of results a real local business gets with the amount of people that are searching for that particular local business industry, right? It's a little bit different for marketing agencies. I'm new to understanding this pod resource. Which person do I talk to? Mark EDU, so I can start using the resource for my clients who are not currently using Ligna services but need SMM paid. So again, these pods are assigned to you based on the white label services that we offer. So that's another thing. I know in the past that we would create custom packages and create these specific packages that work for your business. We're still doing that in some regard. So if you're only needing social media, if you're only needing paid ads or whatever it may be, we would definitely figure out a wholesale rate for those particular packages. We've limited how many we're doing just because a lot would come in and say, you know what, I'll do the local citations and this. And really that package of everything that we do is built in for us to do that repeatable. So when you take one out, it kind of throws a monkey in the wrench, with it all. So I understand that's probably not what you were asking. But as far as understanding the pod resources, that's what gets assigned to you when you get onboarded your first client. You have access to that team to see what they're doing, communicate with them if you need to. But again, it's not a team where, hey, I'm going to have Monday morning meetings and Friday 6 o'clock meetings just to talk about your agency with them. That's not what they are there for. They're there to answer questions when our account manager or project manager can't answer. You may have a simple quick fix or 911 emergency with a client. You can throw it in that channel, and there's more than just your account manager who has visibility into it. And so it just creates this team environment to get things done a lot faster than what we previously had. And it's actually worked really, really well in so many different cases. And again, I encourage you to get to know your resources and work with them for sure. It's just the hey, this is my pod. I'm going to have as many meetings as I want. That doesn't exist. I don't want to misrepresent what those pods actually are. But yes, that can be explained, Ray, when you get on board with Mark and go through that. You know, if you have any additional questions about how that pod works within this. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate everyone's patience. I know we could have been abandoned 10 times over last year. So obviously, I'm very appreciative of everyone, you know, working with us in a lot of different ways, and really shaped us to get us to the next level. And, you know, I'm grateful for that. And, you know, our services that we have now, I'm really, really excited to see what comes out of it. So, you know, like I said, expect an email from me after this for the onboarding side of it and go through that process. And yeah, so this is recorded, so I will share this video out. So if you missed anything, you can go through. And I know there was a lot of people that couldn't actually attend the call today. And of course, I'll share it with our Facebook group and see, you know, where we go from there. But yeah, so look for that email from me. If you think of anything else, you know, obviously ask it during your meetings with Mark, and appreciate everyone. You'll have a phenomenal rest of your week. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.